Greetings, it is I, Tantus Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on the lands, legends, planes, and planeswalkers of Magic the Gathering, where I take each of these, go over some basic information and history about it to help you learn a little bit more about the world settings of Magic the Gathering. Today I've got a new planeswalker for you, Kiora. Now, Kiora is in fact a blue and green aligned merfolk planeswalker from the plane of Zendikar. She is of unknown age. No one knows how exactly old she is. But she did debut, actually, in the Duels of the Planeswalkers 2012 game. Now, we know for a fact that she was born on Zendikar a few decades before the rise of the Eldrazi, before they woke once again, and that she has a younger sister, Turi. Now, there's a story for the two of them that they went out basically traveling and exploring and went to water very deep, farther beyond they came. A grand serpent came out of the depths and began to attack them. Kiora distracted the beast, allowing her sister to basically escape, and that was the last thing she saw as she basically felt she was going to fade to black as the thing swallowed her, chomped down on her. And that is when her spark awoke. She ignited. She eventually did manage to return to her sister, and she has promised her sister that she will always return, no matter where she travels to. Now, Kiora venerates the leviathans and titans and krakens of the deep, the massive sea creatures from deep below the ocean that are far beyond our normal imagination. She sees these things as the ultimate embodiment of able to withstand the very cruxes of nature, of predation, of time itself, of darkness, and of water. That they are the ultimate representation of surviving these. And she always seems so calm and wise in her demeanor. But it hides something, this strange alien nature deep and wide, because her dreams are just as strange and alien as the depths of the ocean where these massive titans come from. Now, when the Eldrazi began to attack Zendikar, she saw these titans of the ocean, the krakens, the leviathans, as the only things that could oppose these creatures and wipe out this alien menace from the face of Zendikar. So she began traveling the plains, gaining control and making deals with various creatures from various places, assembling basically a force to fight against them. And this led her, of course, to Theros. There she created a tsunami to basically show these creatures and bring them to the surface. And the tsunami did great damage to the polis of Metalus. Of course, it didn't attract the Titans. It attracts the Tritons. Basically, the merfolk of Theros. They saw Kiora as an emissary of their god, the god of the sea, Thassa, and an avatar of Thassa. Kiora didn't stop them from thinking this. So Kiora took the time to basically build her own legend, to take on these legends of the ocean that she sort of had existed there. She was seeking more powerful creatures, and learning these legends, she knew where she could sort of find some. She needed an opportunity, and saw it with Ajani and Elspeth as they were traveling to the Temple of Mysteries. She basically posed as a guide that could take them there. And, of course, she had her own reasons for traveling. It was soon after the journey began that they discovered her true reasons. She was seeking this sunken city that was actually in the back of a massive kraken. Of course, as they began to encounter such a beast, Thassa, the god of the sea, came. Thassa did not want Kiora messing with this kraken and taking it with her. Thassa helped out Elspeth and Ajani to continue on to the Temple of Mysteries, and then battled against Kiora. The battle was fierce, and many great leviathans were summoned from various planes and places throughout Theros and other planes to battle it out. And in the end, Kiora was injured but escaped, with Thassa's powerful artifact, Bitant, her legendary weapon. Now when Thassa returned home to Zendikar, she saw it being ravaged by the Eldrazi. They had been doing massive amounts of damage to the plane itself. So she assembled a team of basically merfolk of her people and some of the powerful sea creatures in attempts to help battle against these things from what she could gather together. She went to Sen Gate as Gideon was attempting to retake it from the Eldrazi. And she joined the forces with him, basically saying like, "Oh, I'm here to retake this city. You're here to help?" It turns out the two of them both wanted the leadership position of this now joint army, basically fighting against the Eldrazi. And it wasn't until the both of them learned each other planeswalkers they managed to actually start getting along and properly work together and doing this. And after 2 days, Sengate was free. At least for now. They learned Ulamog was coming, one of the eldrazi titans. Now, it's this point in time that Jace and Nissa come to the assistance here. It was a major victory here. They came up with a plan to imprison Ulamog, using some of the hedrons of this location. Kiora and Gideon and their armies would fight against the brood of Ulamog, while Jace activated these hedrons with the help of Nissa to imprison Ulamog. They did so. But it didn't last long. Obnixilis came. He had been chasing Nissa with this idea of revenge against her, and he destroyed the hedrons. He freed Ulamog, but in the same process, awoke Kozilek. Now there were 2 titans. Kiora had been summoning Lorthos, this gigantic octopus, to try to finally tear apart Ulamog in his imprisoned state. 2 titans was too much. Lorthos was slaughtered, and then they turned towards Kiora. Kiora thought that this was the end for her, that her stories of heroics she heard of various characters in her childhood, that she would not live up to these stories, that she thought this had been her story, and it was turning out not to be. It was a few days afterwards that Joyri N found Kiora, alive but injured, in amongst piles and piles of dead sea creatures. He helped her recover the Bitten that she had claimed from Thassa, her new magical Bitten that she claimed from that plane. And the 2 of them traveled then. She joined up with the Gatewatch as their new plan was enacted to basically kill off the 2 titans. Of course, this involved binding the titans to Zendikar, basically sealing their essences there, which may have resulted in them merging with the plane and basically corrupting it permanently and forever. Kiora objected to this. This was a terrible plan, she thought, and she attempted to stop Nissa from this, but was held back, prevented from doing so. In the end, Chandra had suggested she could channel her energy, the help of Nissa, the leyline energy, through her fire spells and burn the 2 of them. And Jace agreed to this plan. The leyline energy went through Chandra. She created a powerful fire spell, and the 2 titans were burned to ash. Victory for the Gatewatch. Kiora, realizing that she had failed this team at the very last moment, left on her own, to parts unknown for now. Where she's gone, and what she plans in the future now that these 2 titans are done, and Zendikar is free. It's hard to say. Her motivations have changed. And, of course, failures, something that is high on her head. Now, she has been depicted in 2 cards. 2 Planeswalker cards, and shown in a number of other cards. But that's it for today. I introduced you to Kiora, an interesting figure who always wants to be a hero, but never quite seems to go in the right direction. She wanted to be a hero for her sister, and try to give up her life. But then she became a Planeswalker. She sought to save Zendikar in the way that she thought to, through giant beasts, and of course, tried her best to gather them through any means from other places, which resulted in some powerful losses within Theros, and some problems within Theros. She, of course, gained that magical Bitten, which she now uses as her own. That was once Thassa's. But her results, when it came to the battles of Zendikar afterwards, and the final deaths of the Titans, showed that fear was within her. A fear that she didn't know about. Perhaps it was the fear when Lorthos was slain, and she saw her end there, that had ingrained in with her. She thought herself to be the hero here to help free Zendikar, because she believed what she was doing was right. And she wanted to help her world, her plane. The failure that she had there crushed her. What will this mean for her in the future is hard to really say. We theoretically could see her once again, and perhaps she could find a way to lift herself back up and reclaim some of what she lost in her own heart. Some of the fear, that is, maybe to overcome it. Hard to say what will happen, and when we may see her in the future, if we will. But if you have any questions, comments, anything you would say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It shows support the channel, the empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you can always check out my Patreon, link in the description below. If you want to check out some other great Magic the Gathering content, I can recommend Card Bazaar, They Said We Said, and Tasty Snackies, my friends of the multiverse. They always do great Magic the Gathering content themselves, you can always check out. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.